You know, I often have this idea that bands maybe find that technical, smarty pants composition, clever tricks in the songwriting thing. That's something they stumble on many, many, many years later. But shit, this is from 92. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Low End University. By now on this punk rock journey over the last 2 years, I've heard a decent bit of NOFX, but it's all been stuff from the 2000s and onward. And I know very many of you are very partial to that earlier 90s era of the band, so I've been itching to hear what a younger NOFX sounded like. I'm kind of in the same boat with Propaganda right now. It's all been 2000 stuff and later. And believe it or not, I actually had Linoleum on my list to do here in a few weeks, because as a very late to the game NOFX fan, I feel like I should probably hear their most popular song by this point. But our Patreon community had other plans and voted The Death of John Smith in first place last month, and I must follow their lead. I just work here. I'll circle back to that one eventually, but today at least I get to hear an earlier 90s track, as this is from a 12-inch EP the band put out in 1992 titled The Longest Line. So without further ado, here's The Death of John Smith from NOFX.
Hi, we're NOFX.
Very epic already. Woo! There's no good place to stop. If there's a unique thing I've learned about NOFX at this point, is they don't start you out easy. It's not like some slow intro and just this meandering. Right out of the gate, there's just a lot of ear candy happening. I mean, I could talk about so many things that have happened in just this first 59 seconds. There's lots of cool inversions going on. I love how the chords are changing under the bass line that stays stationary in A minor. So you've got perfect fourths happening. You have all these cool intervals that rub a little bit, and then the bass line's jumping up and doing these little chords and double stops. And, you know, the first minute of the song sounds like the ending of another epic song. They tend to start out on just this epic regal. I don't know. It makes me smile, whatever it is. I'm going to go back and just hear the intro again, get my head around the bass line. Cool. I'm excited for this one. I've heard a lot about it. I see this song title come up all the time in the comments, saying things like it's reminiscent of the musicality of The Decline, or it's one of Fat Mike's best bass lines. I've read a lot of your comments, so I'm happy you guys on Patreon voted this in. Let's go back in.
Hi, we're NOFX.
Okay, let's see what we got. That last part. Okay, I was talking a second ago about how that bass line stays in A minor. I don't have the phrasing quite down, but it's got some syncopation in it, leaning on those E's and U's. Somewhere in there, some pull-offs, hammer-ons. I'll listen a bit longer. But you have these chords under it. D, F, G. Guitars down here are going. And sometimes that A is up here on that octave. Then you have the guitar a little bit higher than it going. So you're making a lot of cool intervals that aren't super, super pretty. They rub just a little bit. But essentially, it's sometimes when the bass hits that low A, it's the lowest note. So you kind of get these like sixth intervals. Anyway, I just love the way they're playing together. And this next bass line really takes off. A lot of cool double stops and chords happening. Okay, right here. Let's see. A flat there. Woo!
I got respect from the community. I got my bridge game to look forward to. And I got this chance, a golden opportunity. As long as I keep doing what I'm supposed to do. You see my wife and kids, they depend on me to provide them with nothing but the best. I feel it's my duty, my obligation, live up to the standards society suggests. I'll keep on working for the benefits, and I'll keep on drinking. I keep on believing in my life.
Whoa. Okay, a little technical part here. Man, Fat Mike sounds a lot younger. I think the earliest track I've heard is maybe late 90s. Is It the Decline? I know War on Errorism was 2003, 4, somewhere in there. Maybe the Gasoline song, which is the most recent one. Our Patreon community also voted that one in a few months ago. But this is by far the earliest. I mean, yeah, it sounds like a younger, slightly higher pitched in the vocals. But damn, the musicality is just as great as the later stuff. You know, I often have this idea that bands maybe find that technical smarty pants composition, clever tricks in the songwriting thing. That's something they stumble on many, many, many years later. But shit, this is from 92. I can't quite remember how far back this band goes, but I know I'm on the earlier side, and it still sounds very well thought out and some little genius things happening. Okay, we landed here on this sort of technical break from the vocals, and I kind of let it all go by. I just was curious to hear the vocals. But yeah, bass down there, jumping up, and I feel like sometimes doing the same intervals as the guitar chords are. But if he's not, he's doing other intervals that maybe make those guitar chords even bigger and more rich. So, you know, if the guitar is doing something like a major third, you know, Fat Mike might be up here doing like a, just stacking on top of it. So when you hear those hits, ba-da, you just hear like this really rich chord, but in like little stabs. So that first bass line, I know it had some D and G string stuff. That kind of stuff happening up there. And depending on what range the guitar part is happening, sometimes they're really on top of each other, kind of like a cluster chord. It's like mashing close together keys on the piano. But that didn't sound dirty. It sounds clean and just more like a cluster chord. And sometimes the bass, when it does the double stops, it just makes the guitar chords bigger. And I think that contributes a lot to that rich sound their riffs have. They have like thrash metal characteristic. I've talked about that a ton already, but they're still like rich and they blossom on those accents. Okay, let's jump into this technical thing. This is great so far. All right.
On believing in my life.
Whoa. What the hell is this? Russia's La Via Strangiato? Seriously, I just never in a million years expected to hear this kind of stuff. I wish someone had shown me these bands when I was much younger. That's where I'm at this point. Let's go back again. That was sick. You can't just not have a shit-eating grin hearing this stuff. I love all this little pentatonic. I mean, it's very much like an instrumental out of a Rush song. That's just how I identify hearing that, coming from that world. That's just, wow. just all those combinations of little pentatonics. I thought it was going to stay kind of pentatonic in this box, but I hear that flat 5 thrown in, and it just makes it more whimsical. Got the blues sound thrown in. Woo! One more time. Sick little section. Cool. Naturally goes into this riff really well.
Another day of slaving and smiling, buying and trading, living the life of a wealthy man. But somehow I don't feel so rich inside. That doesn't make sense. Why just had this little vacation as soon as I get this operation?
I'm hearing those little chords happening. Kind of outlining them a bit more. I feel like he's adding arpeggios. Whatever bass line he's doing here is a little busier than the last time this verse happened. And I love these hits, how sometimes the vocals are very, they're in unison with the hits. Ba-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. You have a few of those kind of broken up unisons with vocals and the rhythm section and the riff. And he's changing the bass note each time. I kind of hear like a... that kind of thing, just walking it up a bit. One more time on the verse 2, because I love how the bass line it's already pretty busy and epic. It's a little bit of a variation on it now.
Another day of slaving and smiling,
That stuff.
buying and trading, living the life of a wealthy man. But somehow I don't feel so rich inside. That doesn't make sense. Why just had this little vacation as soon as I get this operation
Something like that.
taken care of?
Woo.
I'll start enjoying the good things in life. So I'll keep on working for the benefit, and I'll keep on drinking. I keep on believing in my life. When the pity spins your mind, darkness fills your heart, and I won't be around when you feel you're all alone.
I have to point out why this section is cool. When it really simplifies, everybody comes back together. We're on 8th notes now. This is more of what I thought punk rock was the whole time. And instead, in this song, I'm hearing a lot of technical chops on display, a lot of dazzling stuff. And then you get to this section that simplifies, and there's something impactful about that. Whereas in reverse, you have a really simple song and you're going through, and all of a sudden the band gets technical like the rest of this song, and that's the impact. So you can be impactful with simplicity coming around the other side, instead of just being simple and having to add something for shock value or impact value musically. So it kind of got my attention when it simplified here. So just worth pointing out that sometimes it can work the other way around. It's how it hit me.
Keep on working for the benefit, and I'll keep on drinking. I keep on believing in my life. When the pity spins your mind, darkness fills your heart,
See, just
and I won't be
kind of get your attention.
around. When you feel you're all alone, then you'll know it's time to go into the ground. When the pity spins your mind.
Good time to just mention the lyrics for a second. I mentioned in a previous video, I'm at least going to read through them before I start songs if I can. Because I'm like, who's John Smith? Wikipedia didn't really state much about it. But after reading the lyrics, I'm kind of realizing John Smith is like a figurative archetype of a person in today's society, like the death of this type of person, the average Joe. It's kind of what it seems like to me, in the sense that, this person is giving all of themselves to everyone else and holding up and keeping up appearances and trying to fit the mold, and in turn loses themselves in the process. And, it ends kind of dark. Put me in the ground, go into the ground. I won't be around, but it starts out saying, I've got respect from the community. I've got my bridge game to look forward to, wife, kids, to live up to the standards society suggests. Yeah, just kind of losing yourself and trying to be what everyone else wants you to be. and how that's maybe killing society slowly, people in society keeping up with the Joneses. So I thought that was a cool take on it. There's a lot of meaning and pretty poignant topics happening here. So just good for me to understand these backstories, hearing the music. And then over top of that, we have like Rush instrumental sections. So love that. Love that pairing.
Then you'll know it's time to go into the ground.
A little more serious here.
Pity spins your mind, darkness fills your heart, and I won't be around.
I won't be around. You see how that mood shift happened on a dime there? I feel like all the first half of the song was it was playful, it was technical, just setting it all up and maybe looking at this on a more positive note in the past. And then we get to the section talking about I won't be around, I'll be in the ground, dying. Right on this section where it simplifies and kind of gets your attention, you kind of lose that whimsicalness. And as soon as he sings I won't be around, it's right back into it. What does that suggest? But I like the pivot. I don't know.
And I won't be around.
Right back into it immediately.
I got my family.
That was different.
Friends and associates can stand by me as the threshold comes near. Within the faces I still get concerned. I ask myself if the thoughts are sincere. After all these years of being complacent, what do I get? 10 days affection and 2 cents of love. Just paid through a body chock full of regret. I'll keep on.
Another cool thing is the way the vocals harmonize is actually outlining, I feel like, what his bass line was doing. You know, the bass line we've been hearing in the verses has those little bits of the double stops in the chords happening. And if you listen to the cadence of the harmonies right here, kind of like a copy of the bass line. That's exactly what's happening. That's cool as hell. Never really heard that either.
And 2 cents of love. Just paid through a body chock full of regret. I'll keep on believing.
Let me see if I can play with it. See if it lines up.
And there's affection and 2 cents of love. Just paid through a body chock full of regret. I'll keep on believing.
Yeah, that's it.
My life still has value.
Pretty
and
sure.
I'll keep on laughing. Why can't I stop laughing? I can't stop the laughing.
Ah. So after hearing that, I think the craziest thing is that if you said that was from 2010, I would have said, yeah, that sounds like a 2010 production. Really well produced. I'm expecting maybe just something really raw, more low budget. And the only discerning thing about maybe thinking it's an older song is just his voice. But I just feel so stoked knowing that pretty much their entire discography is going to have cool shit. That was just a technical, fun song with these really kind of profound lyrics. I know Fat Mike comments on my videos every now and then. That's super cool of him. Mike, if you're watching this, that's super cool of you. Curious to know what this one's about. That's kind of the balance it strikes to me. Just the death of the average person and modern. I mean, this is written in the 90s, so this is, pre-internet, pre-social media, but if it's really about losing yourself and what everyone else expects you to do and be, I'd say that's more relevant now than ever. But yeah, I mean, sick song, crazy cool riffs, cool bass lines. I just love the way he thinks writing bass lines, doing the chords and matching it maybe with the vocal harmonies and independent lines and inverting chords and maybe staying the exact same when everyone else changes. He's kind of always doing something different. So thank you guys over on Patreon. You guys always throw me the coolest NOFX songs. I feel like the last 2 I've done haven't even been on official albums. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me today once again. Come find us over on Patreon. It's the best way to support the channel. I do full albums there. We sit down and do a whole album just like this. They're fun. We vote on them each month. And I've been turned on to so much great music from our amazing community over there. I also have bass lessons, music theory lessons, all this other teaching, educational stuff. If you're into that, please make sure to subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this. I love you all, and and we will see you in the next one.